Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? I think, Yama is with Island Metal Forge. How y'all doing? Happy Sunday, happy Sunday. Uh, Beautiful cloudy day here. With me, as always, is Garth. No.
Already on, Wayne.
Party on, Garth. um, Hello, Shane, Nick 2, Xavier, Paul, Transcendental Artist Studios, if you Paul Orchard, Door to God, Robert Whitney, Carnage Creations, Hubcap. How you doing, Hubs? Shane, I just want to say it was great to meet you. Uh, I thought you were a person from elsewhere, from another country, and never thought that I would get a chance to meet my uh, good friend Shane. Where's Trail Dust? Dang it! Anyway,
Oh yeah,
uh,
must be Hall.
yeah. So, yeah, I'm I'm drawing a blank on even remembering our format. Anyway, good morning. Um, so yeah, how y'all doing? Today we have, of course, Alex Transcendental Order Studios and Adam Speargrass Forge and Rob from Granddad's Forge on the mics today. Ben Strickland, how you doing? Uh, and yeah, so today should be kind of a chill and fun, back and forth. So uh, I guess we'll get into, how our weeks was. Since I'm going to assume that Adam had the most boringest of weeks, we'll start with him.
Hang on, there we go. Sorry, it was muted. No worries. Yeah, well, not. I wouldn't say I had a boring week. It was another one of them weeks where I was exceptionally busy. I actually went round to my father's place and did some fencing, bit of welding, welding up new posts and stuff like that. And then Saturday, I actually went to a festival called Tropicon, a geek and nerd festival, which of course those that know me know that I'm a well enshrined geek. I am a sword nerd as well as a person that I'm involved in HEMA. So we were promoting our local HEMA club, of which I'm one of the board members of. So all in our full regalia, and then did a sword fighting demonstration on stage at the Darwin Entertainment Centre, getting the sound of clashing steel running through the halls of the Darwin Entertainment Centre, like proper actual clashing steel as opposed to just stage fighting. So that was good fun. And then tonight, before the live stream, I just got home from my parents' place again, my father's place again, because tonight was the grand final of the National Rugby League. So it was the Parramatta Eels versus the Penrith Panthers, and unfortunately, if you're a Panthers supporter, but unfortunately if you're an Eels supporter, the Panthers got up. I think it was 28 points to 12. So it was a good final. But I'm not exactly an Eel supporter, but my partner's, my wife's family is. I'm a for those in the know, for those that are in Australia, I'm a Manly supporter. Yeah, you can all boo me later.
I don't know.
But
I'm going to boo you just on principle. Boo. I don't know what that is.
well, think what is the most hated team in the NFL?
What's the NFL?
The
Is that a sports
American
ball
football.
thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Ball.
Most hated team. Not Bears. I don't know. I have no clue.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, well, I'm not a massive rugby league fanatic. It's just that
I'll piss
I used to
everybody
be
off. Tennessee Titans, Green Bay Packers. I don't know. Those are the teams I know. Oh,
Patriots, maybe. I don't know.
the Red Sox.
I'm pretty sure that's baseball.
Oh, the
But yeah, no.
Bulls.
So yes, so basically the Manly Seagulls, which is the team that I follow, is one of the most hated teams in the league. But I'm a moderate fan. I wouldn't say I'm a fervent fan, but So watching the grand final is something we generally do every year, but I didn't really have a horse in the race, so it was an okay game, but yeah. This is the final for this year, and now gladly we've got a bit of break from most ball sports. AFL is finished, rugby league is finished. There's still a bit of rugby union on, and of course there's always cricket. So yeah, I know the barber mister. I actually have to go get a new haircut, and my hair's getting a bit long at the moment. And I know, considering I used to have long hair, that's saying something. But yeah, it's getting a bit
Oh,
fluffy and
wow.
getting a bit curly.
I just realized
What?
you cut off your ponytail.
Yeah, I cut off my hair about 6 months ago.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry for not noticing. I'm a guy. I don't notice things like that.
It's
Like,
okay.
like I barely noticed when my ex-wife, went from like long straight or not straight, but like long, regular hair to, freaking micro braids all over the place. I barely noticed it.
It's neither here nor there. No, yeah. So yeah, it's been a productive week. Like I said, got the fence done for my dad. Got a whole heap of free bricks and pavers. My wife is putting in vegetable gardens. So yeah, getting fertilizer and all that type of stuff at the moment. Gearing up for doing fencing. It's been raining here lately, so the wet season pretty much officially started. So I've been keeping an eye on my driveway, make sure that doesn't turn into a bog again. But yeah, so it's all good.
Yeah.
And how do you guys did you get the just saw in the chat as well about that hurricane, and we've been listening about it on the radio.
Oh,
I know
oh,
it hit Florida
I'll get to that when it's my turn.
and fair enough. Well, just to say condolences to those people that are in Florida and the southern states. I hope you are all faring well, and you are getting the support and the help that you need in order to get through this difficult time. Particularly living in a place which is also susceptible to cyclones, which is the same thing but goes the opposite direction. I can understand
Like the toilet.
the hardships that exactly. I can understand the hardships that you guys are going through at the moment, and I hope that that everyone that is close to you that perhaps may be in that part of the world get through safely.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a lot of friends down there in Florida, obviously. And yeah, some of them are doing all right, some of them not so much. But yeah, it's hurricanes are tough. And I'm sorry, Sully, I'm going to go ahead and take a moment for this. Uh, I've been talking with a lot of them. Some of them, this is their first hurricane, and they followed the advice of the long-term locals. There's some people that I know that have moved down there, after Irma, and people I know through online and everything. This was the first hurricane, and much like my very first hurricane, I took the advice of the locals, and I did not evacuate. Which my first hurricane, it wasn't a big deal. It was a foot of two, um, and yeah, I haven't heard back from them. But like the biggest thing with a hurricane, and I'm sure I've said this on this channel. I'm sure I've talked about this before. Um, yes, a hurricane being boarded up, and you have your hurricane party. You stock up on booze before they shut down the liquor stores and everything, and you have a hurricane party, and play songs like the Scorpions' "Rock You Like a Hurricane," and you just get drunk because that's all you can do. Um, and you do that till the power goes out, and you light candles and keep going. All well and good, well and fun, and then the hurricane hits, and you hold on, and you just wait for it to pass, and it just seems like it's going on forever and forever and forever. And but I will tell you from experience, the worst thing about a hurricane is not the actual hurricane. It's not um, sitting in a house waiting for it to pass, watching watching the wind bash your house, break windows, and the water coming in downstairs. That's not the worst thing. Um, Psychologically, leading up to it, it's I always attribute it with my sense of humor. It's like being stalked by a giant murderous turtle, you know, hoping it doesn't turn its sights on you. And then you deal with the hurricane as it's passing, and at that point there's nothing you can do. You just hold on and hope. And then the absolute worst part of it is the aftermath. After it's passed, and then you go outside, and you come home if you evacuated, and you see your home and your community, just destroyed. I remember driving back into the Keys after Irma, and it's like, I don't know if my home was all right. I don't know if my house was all right. I don't know if my friends are all right, because there's no communication. Lines are down. I don't know what I'm coming into. It's the lush green of the trees, and everything. The stuff that makes the area beautiful is all salt killed. It's all brown and nasty. You've got, people's houses laying across the road. You've got, it's just the devastation that you see of your community. It's more heart wrenching than you can imagine. And uh, so, and then trying to help people, and all, it's just, bottom line, in my opinion, the worst part of the hurricane is after the fact. The tallying of statistics, I'll just say that. Uh, but after that comes the rebuilding, and you get all the stories of people helping people, and it's very uplifting. But yeah. So as for my area, uh, I was, you know, I've got some videos on my phone from while I was at work. I was actually working during the beginning of it up here. Where I'm at, I didn't get hit by it. We had a tropical storm, uh, winds and rain and stuff. But just like the very north, like where the bands had broken off, and, and moving north, and the winds being sucked in from the north to feed the cyclone. That was what I was. I wasn't actually in the hurricane, so I was safe. Just some hairy driving, and I thought my truck was going to get blown over, but on the way home from work. Uh, but like, I'm safe. There's no major damage to my area. I had to go outside, pick up some tree branches that came down, and stuff like that. But yeah, my area was fine uh, for the most part. So absolutely, my heart goes out to both areas that got hit. The center of Florida that just got a chainsaw run through them, and then in South Carolina there, where it made second landfall as a hurricane force 1, category 1. Yeah, it's hurricanes are tough, and hurricanes suck, but we live where we live because we love where we are, you know. And as long as you're safe about it, as long as you're mentally prepared for it, it's manageable. It's manageable. I get yeah. So, but
That's it. We don't. You don't live at the bottom of a volcano because you're worried about the eruption. You live there because of the benefits that it brings you. It's the same with cyclone living in cyclone areas. We live here. We live here because we love them, not because we're worried about once every year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years or 100 years blowing us off the map.
Yeah. But as for my week, while I'm talking, I suppose, Quad State last week. No, work last week. Oh, it was the first week back from Quad State, and as per usual, I was busy. Had Monday off and took a drive with Sully there to the ocean, and had a blast. Had a couple of beers at Pelican's Watch and Avalon Pier, and not but anyway, had some beers at Avalon Pier, and looked at Right Brother Memorial, dipped our toes in the water, and had some fun. And then back to work, worked a bunch of long days, and like I said, Friday had to call it early because of the storm, and basically I've been in my house since then. I did a little bit of checking around yesterday, but yeah. So that's me. How was your week there? Tell us about your week there.
Now, yeah, I got nothing. No.
Tell us about your vacation.
Yeah. We know that's not going to ever be the case. So last week closed out Quad State. Before I get into all of that, I'd just like to take a minute to personally thank the following people: Yamez, Bob, you, John, and Debbie Coffey for both hosting our Neanderthal asses at their location and letting us sleep in their yard, and also providing some excellent meals while we were there for a few days. Ben Strickland, Eduardo Soul, Dan Zappa, Kevin and Keith Stokes, or Kevin Stokes and Keith Stokes. Don't necessarily need to lump them together. John Brunell, Steve Lalonde, Jeremiah Champ, Troy Roush, Matthew Hobbs, and Josh Brown. Every single one of these people, I can't thank enough just for being cool. I went into this Quad State with a fair bit of anxiety, and because of these people that were, mostly the people that I interacted with on a basis, everything was just smooth sailing, calm, cool, collected, and it was like I was a family, and for that I'm greatly appreciative. Now then, so after church last Sunday, we struck out and headed back to Yamez's house, and I was working. I had an issue with the car halfway up to Ohio from Yamez's house. We got a check engine light and a engine power reduced thing on the display, and I'm like, crap! Run into an AutoZone, and the code was oil pressure solenoid stuck open. It's got a 2-stage oil pump, high and low, and it was stuck in high. And okay, well, that's better than being stuck in low for sure. And it turns out that for the rest of the trip, I could unplug the battery, give it 30 seconds, whatever, plug the battery back in, and then I could go anywhere from 40 to 200 miles before the check engine light would come back on and engine power reduced. And so I made it a point that every time I stopped for gas, I would just reset the computer. We got to Yamez's house Sunday evening, and then Monday morning, did an oil change on it to see if maybe that would help. It did not. Although I did, after the oil change, I did make 3/4 of a tank of gas before it came back on. That was the longest I had made it. And but that Monday, we went over to Kitty Hawk, as Yamez was saying, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, dipped our toes in the water, did not put our ass in the sand. Instead, we used a bar stool up at the Avalon Pier and had a couple adult beverages. That was a lot of fun. I've now touched more bodies of water. No. I'm up to like 4. The Gulf of Mexico, if you don't count that as part of the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf of Atlantic, and I think it's the Mediterranean. It's off the coast of Italy. I think that's what it is. I'm not entirely sure, but Yamez told me, and I was like, okay, yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Drove back here, and I made the drive here, and in two I think 2 stops or whatever, because I stopped at over in Georgia and spent a few hours with Josh Brown. Had an amazing time speaking with him and watching him work as it worked while I was standing around consuming, shall we say, water. And then I drove the rest of the way in. I got in at home on Thursday and went to leave. I got in late Thursday. Got like that. Got everything divvied up. Got everything back in my pickup. Well, I went to leave on Friday morning because I needed to be back here for some business, so to speak. And I get in the truck. I'm like, text my daughter, hey, where's my keys? Aren't they in the truck? I'm like, I don't think so. About an hour later, I found them. They were in the center console. No big deal. I go to start the truck, and it starts, and it runs for just a second, and it dies. I look over, and the gas gauge is all the way over on E, and the little light, the low fuel light is on. And I was like, really? It's out of gas in the driveway. So I called, like, I was fixing to go to work, and my truck is out of gas. And she's like, really? I put $15 in it last week. I'm like, 3 gallons. I was like, it'll evaporate that in a week, So anyways, yeah, got her filled up, came back to work, got back here Friday afternoon, and no, that was Thursday. I got back here Thursday, because I went in, I got in here late Thursday, so I walked into the office Friday morning, take care of that business, and to which I found out that it had been excused because I was out of town. So no worries there, and at least time wise worries, because it was the 30th of the month. Had to have these done before the 1st. Well, so went back to work yesterday. Yesterday was my first day back at work, and I was so excited to get out here. I'm like, I am excited to build a drilling rig today. And I moved one piece all day long. Just picked it up on this end over here, moved it over to this end over here, set it down so they could put it in place with the cranes, and that way they didn't have to walk all the way with it with 2 cranes. I picked up one and hauled and trucked it across. They picked up the other one and tracked it over. That's all I did yesterday. And then I'm back out here today, and I spoke to the truck pusher right before we got going here, and let him know, hey, I'm going to be doing this, so I'm going to change my radio so I'm not dealing with all the cross traffic. So that's where you need to catch me if you need me. He's like, pretty sure you won't touch anything all day long. So I'm going to sit here and do this, play Minecraft today. That's what I got going on. But I had an absolutely amazing trip. Other than the car trouble, that was the only issue. Which it would still drive. The only problem with the car was when you're going uphill, it would just slow down because engine power reduced, and it's only a 1.5 liter, so there's not a whole lot to begin with. It would slow down going up the hill. So I'd go down a hill, and I'd pass everybody on the way down, just and then we'd be going up the other side, and I'd pull over to the right lane. Everybody'd be going by me, going, God, this person just can't drive.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know I was definitely making people mad because passing them, and then they were having to get over and pass me again. I'm like, look, I'm doing the best I can with the engine power I have. So, but had a great week, had a great trip, and yeah, that's it. That's all I've got. There's my weekly happening. Rob, would you like to chime in with your week? Or?
Just before that, Yamez and Sally, remind me when I come over to the States to go to Quad State, someone else has taken Yarmouth, because it seems that every time someone picks him up, they have car trouble.
That is
That's the
fairly
running
accurate.
joke. That's the running joke.
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
It happens.
uh,
And no worries, Adam, I got you.
but what about me?
Yeah.
Yeah. uh,
I'll chip in and buy you a plane ticket, Yamez.
I'll walk.
Rob, how are you there, mate? Tell us about your week.
Well, I was disappointed to not be able to make Quad State. The funds for Quad State came after Quad State was pretty much over. However, I did get to go down to Shady Oak Forge and with Wallace Davis. If anybody follows him on Facebook or I don't think he has Instagram. Anyway, he made this incredible railing project for a house, and it was just beautiful. It turned out awesome. He also showed me how to make I had never made a lily out of one piece of metal
Oh, that's fun.
before. Uh, normally you make the flowers with, separate petals and a stem and all that and bring them together, but this was all out of one piece. He's extremely talented. He's an amazing person, and he's coming to Quad State next year, so we're making a big deal about that. Other than that, I worked all week. I really love my new job. I was amazed when I just applied for it. I honestly didn't think I was going to get it because it's one of the top jobs in the plant, in the foundry. So now I make the iron for the whole foundry, and it's really fun. It's a science experiment basically for me, trying to learn how to balance the additives, I guess you could say, the chemistry of the iron, because we make different kinds of iron, so the chemistry changes. But also, this is kind of silly, and I can't describe it in words, but there's all kinds of strange things go on inside that furnace when metal is being melted with electricity. The kind of visions I see are just, I can't describe it, but it is amazing. Some weird stuff goes on in there. And I find that the most mesmerizing time of the day is when I'm melting. I melt 11,000 pounds of metal at a time and make the iron that way. Some days I do, a dozen batches. Some days I do 3 batches. Other than that, it's just, I love the new job, and I just love glowing red hot metal. And for a blacksmith, this is a dream job. Yeah.
I
That's
have a
pretty much
question.
it.
I have a question for you, Rob. Now, in the foundry there, do you guys pour finished castings, or do you pour like ingots that go elsewhere to be melted down and then cast in components?
The way we have it is it's a system I didn't expect. There's my furnace, which actually holds 22,000 pounds. My furnace, I make the iron. It's called the base iron, and then they take it over. They pour it in a huge ladle and take it over to another furnace, which is kind of like a holding tank. And that's where they adjust the additives. And each of us takes a sample of each batch, and we put it on a spectroscope. And take the chemical analysis and all that. So the second batch of tanks, they do the same thing I do. It's just they don't have to make they just, hold it. And then a little later, ladle comes over on a crane and picks up maybe 2,000 pounds worth of iron at a time. And then they adjust the thing. And then the final mixture. And then once the iron is perfect, that ladle goes over to the line. It's called a DISA line. And it's pretty interesting. But they make the molds right there on the spot with a machine, and it gets poured. Just it's just amazing process. Each mold comes through, and when they get done with a run, they get a different set of molds, and they just keep moving. And sometimes the iron has to change, and that's always a big deal. But other than that, that's we cast everything. In fact, we even finish it. We have people that break open the molds and do the blasting on it, and then they do grinding, and we do powder coating. We have a machine shop where we machine it. So it's the finished product goes out the door usually.
A couple questions from chat for you there, Rob. Number one, what you're making, gray ductile malleable. And then what kind of coating do they use on the ladles?
On the ladles, that's a biggie. Well, we make ductile and gray iron, and there's different grades. We go by like the gray irons are 30, 40. I think there's 25, and it's hard to explain, but they all have different characteristics about them. The same with the ductile. There's high and low carbon ductile irons, and they're all for different kinds of products. Mostly, it's hard to explain, like pump housings and so on and so forth. It's a big deal as to what is made for what. What was the other question?
What kind of coating do they use on the ladles? I'm going to assume they
Oh,
use whiteout.
that is the coolest part. Uh, we have like 3 or 4 different refractories that we use, and they use it comes out of a box and you slice it. It looks like a big chunk of clay. It's about a 50-pound chunk of clay, and you slice it up into slices, basically like bricks, and you stack them like bricks inside, and then they fire it. They everybody's station has a gas outlet. I'm surprised there's never been an explosion. Well, the factory's burnt several times. It almost burnt to the ground a couple years ago, but they have these gas outlets everywhere, and it's basically just a straight pipe of gas with a little. It's not even a Venturi burner; it just mixes with air in a pipe, a 3-inch pipe, and they just blow that in there for an hour or two, or however long it takes for the refractory. But we also have the kind that you slurry on to go over top of that, and also for those of you who like to build forges, it drives me crazy to see is we have pallets and pallets of ceramic blankets, so they use them a lot too. So yeah, you could build forges for the rest of your life on on one pallet. It's just amazing. But yeah, it's basically, and it's a constant upkeep. In fact, 4 hours every weekend, somebody will come in and reline the ladles. Sometimes the furnaces themselves need relined, and that's a huge job. That can take 8 hours to do. And there's a long process in that, but they have, they don't plan on the refractories lasting. They're definitely a consumable, and they pack them, they line them, they bake them, they use them till they start crumbling and falling apart, and then they reline them, and that's pretty much constant maintenance.
And Pole Orchard's asking, what are we casting? Large industrial pieces or smaller parts? They are casting chopsticks and door pulls.
Yeah. Yeah, it's anyway from
Cut a tree
wheel
down to make a
weight
splinter.
for
For the
tractors.
people.
Like we have uh international, what is it? New Holland International, some of their big tractors and some of their big earth moving equipment. And then there's other places like just housings for Gould's pumps, some Ford parts for some of their trucks. Yeah, so it's anywhere from, I can honestly say in our plant, it's anywhere from 2 pound part up to maybe 65 pound part. And it can be anything. So, yeah.
So do you get to take any of the malleable iron home occasionally there, Rob?
Yes, believe it or not, I'm trying to work out a deal where I can polish and smooth the ductiles to use as, what do you call them? Forms for uh, uh, using sheet metal work and making armor. Because they have some really funny shapes that they use for, I forget what the word is for it, but basically the fluid dynamics when they pour, they have all these weird shapes that the iron goes through before it actually goes into the mold. And then when it comes out of the mold, they have some weird shapes too. And they all have something to do with the fluid dynamics. And some of these are like large teardrop shaped things. Some of them are heart shaped. Some of them are, but yeah, they got some cool stuff. So I have yet to experiment with that. I just haven't had the time, especially since I moved. My entire shop is in storage. So that's killing me.
Amos wants to know, what temps do the furnaces run at?
Ductile iron, unless I want a huge mess of slag to clean off the top, which can be very tedious. We only run those up to 2600 degrees, but the gray iron we run up to 2800 degrees. And yeah, the heat coming out, the radiant heat coming off the pulls, when I have this thing, it's kind of like a rail car that brings in the metal and the additives and everything that I load up ahead of time. And some of these come in big 50-pound paper bags. And the radiant heat, as soon as the light from the furnace even touches the bags start to burst into flames. And as they drop, before they even hit the molten iron, it just looks like a fireball dropping in there.
So you throw it in paper and all, huh? Just throw in the whole bag?
Yeah, the funny part about it is I always wondered if the paper itself was adding to the carbon content, but probably not, because you're talking a paper bag versus 11,000 pounds of iron. But then again, 3 or 4 pounds of titanium can throw the chemistry off. So it's amazing how some of the different additives that we put in the iron can really, even minute traces can change the whole dynamics. I don't understand it all yet. I'm still learning. I've only been doing it for about a month, but yeah.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but it's sounds fan freaking tastic, I tell you. And
yeah,
you're absolutely right from a blacksmith's perspective. Dream job.
yeah.
I mean, other than being a blacksmith, but I mean, if you had to have a day job, that would be it, right?
Yeah, we have a ladle that I pour into a small mold that I take the mold, I shine it up on the sander and take it into the spectrometer or whatever that's called. Is that what it is? Spectrograph, spectrometer?
Mass spectrometer.
Yeah, okay, there you go. And the ladle is way bigger than we need for what we're pouring. And I've talked to uh, Ben Strickland. I've joked with him about making some molds up and just having them conveniently sitting on the table next to the pour, and just fill them up every time I have to test a batch, and make some little swage blocks and so on. But then I started thinking that could be an actual viable, real thing to do. So anytime we're running ductile, I could make a couple swage blocks. So
Sneak in a
we'll see
couple
how.
molds into the assembly line, and then get in
Now,
there before they get found out.
Yeah, I would do it.
now on the when you pull a sample, how many or say weight wise, how much of a sample would you pull at one time for to go to do your sample for the mass spec?
Actually, it's not very big. It's maybe the size of a silver dollar.
Hmm.
And that's pretty much it. You take it over and you put it on a what is it? One of those 6x48 grinders, like from Home Depot or from Harbor Freight, and you just make it shiny and flat, and you cool it off with the air hose, and stick it in the machine, and it floats on a little cloud of argon, and then it's held down by a spring-loaded ground, and you just close it up and hit analyze, and you hear some buzzing and all this crazy stuff, and then all of a sudden your screen fills up with what's in there. And it's kind of funny because sometimes they're surprised as to, like, something, some kind of metal gets in there. Now they do select what kind of metal they use. In other words, they have now, as my first week, now I'm numb to it, but it used to tear me up. My first week there, we one of the ingredients is railroad rail. So I'm seeing this rail just going in there and getting melted for nothing. Uh, but sometimes they'll actually take some of those, can actually change in chemistry too. So, and we're not expecting it. So we'll be throwing truck, what are they, truck brake drums? They're a different ingredient, and sheet metal, steel is
So,
another ingredient,
so I
and
take it
sometimes.
when you're, because you're creating different alloys essentially, and
Hmm.
I take it what's in all of these recyclable materials, what's in, like, molecularly, and whatnot, what's in railroad steel and what's in brake drums and such. And say, just off the top of my head, say you're making an alloy. Oh, we need some, molybdenum or molybdenum. Uh, we need some of this material, alloy. All right,
Exactly.
grab from this pile of scrap that has this alloy in it. You know,
Yeah, and they actually take a sliver of that and take it into the spectrometer and
make sure.
spectroscope. Now, Sully, what is that?
Mass spectrometer.
Mass spectrometer. Anywho, yeah, they'll take those because, like you said, that's a known metal, but it's not always. I mean,
Yeah,
sometimes you'll actually
make
rail
sure
in.
that you're putting in the right stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So you do get surprises once in a while. You get the same from the same supplier, the same object coming in as scrap, and sometimes that metal changes. So you got to test that before you use it. Um, Usually the truckload, they'll test the truckload and see what kind it is. But yeah, it's,
Right.
and I really don't know enough yet to have an intelligent conversation on all the chemistry, but I'm learning quickly day by day, and it's interesting as all get out. So
Yeah, I think we kind of need to change the title topic of this from general banter to making steel with granddads.
Making iron.
Yeah, making
yeah,
iron.
no, that was Old Hickory, John Norwood. He actually made steel, crucible of steel in his shop, small scale. So that was kind of interesting. That's the other weird thing is the carbon content in iron for different kinds of iron is very critical, and balancing that is like one of that and silicon carbide are the two ingredients we play with most as far as it seems like the other ones kind of stabilize and you don't have to tweak them too much, but you can you can be all over the Mac with carbon and silicon carbide, uh, and it's just something you're constantly balancing and playing with. And yeah, okay, well, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very enlightening.
Extremely.
On a side note, I could discuss that for hours. Just be like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
when it
and
gets in, when you get
I
into the weeds, that's where I get the most interest. Really, you're really running 10% nickel in that, huh? How about I mean, just weird stuff like that just fascinates me.
yeah, it's not proprietary secret or anything, so I can send you the spec sheets and what I look at, so give you an idea what they're looking at.
Yeah.
I was surprised to even see boron on the list. It's trace elements, but still, I'm surprised to see that as having I don't know what you would put boron. I don't know how that would mix in with iron, but
Well,
hey,
boron can be found natively with other metals, and it winds up being one of those things that's really hard to. And so it would be I would think it's not really an additive so much as it's just a trace that
right.
it's not
Just
worth chasing it
present.
out.
Yeah, yeah, it's just present. And apparently, they have some additives that can mask other additives that they don't want. But and some of those are just regular, like
It's
magnesium and oh, that's the other thing I forgot to tell you. When we're making ductile, uh, right at the last minute before they pour the ladle to pour into the molds, they add high quantities of magnesium, and that the light that comes off of that, it's almost like you see people's skeletons standing around. everything
Wow.
everything turns white. The walls turn white, just shadows streak across the room. It's just the magnesium flare up is just amazing. I don't know, it just thrills me.
oh,
It's old hat to the other guys, but
You ever see it and be like, "Oh, dude, you got a broken bone."
yeah, really.
Like,
But yeah,
what's that?
I just picture that would be perfect for a perfect weapon for
see, see,
vampires.
see somebody with a foreign object. Be like, wait a minute, that doesn't belong there.
yeah. Boron is it came to me right then. Boron is inherently present in nickel ores, and and to a certain extent, in a small amount, like I said, it's not worth trying to chase it out. So,
Right, right. It's just there. It just
but yeah,
strikes me
the
that they even carry the
magnesium.
look.
Right. And as for the topic in the chat, real quick, it will for never be aluminum. Always aluminum.
Yeah, I have
How
to
did they-
confess. I've thrown aluminum and stuff in the batch just to see if it would change the chemistry, and it's not enough to change it.
Oh,
Nobody
so
was watching this.
when when you get a piece of steel, it's like, hey, this is really really weak. Rob's over there throwing aluminum chunks in. It disappears. No, it doesn't.
Aluminium.
That's
My
interesting
ears.
that you could add magnesium, because I mean, like, I would think it would just burn off.
Well, actually,
Um,
you have a it does. They actually have a certain amount of time to pour those into a mold. And if something, let's say, for instance, the guy making the molds and pushing the molds through the machine that gets fed, let's say he breaks down for a few minutes, they actually have to throw that iron into what they call a pig, which is basically just a big uh, cone that we melt down later for other use. But they actually have to get rid of it because the magnesium burns off so quick. It actually loses its ductability. It changes from ductile iron back to gray when the magnesium burns off. Now, that's how it was explained to me. I don't understand it. I'm not an expert yet, but yeah, they actually have a certain amount of time from the time they add that magnesium to the ductile to get it poured and into the mold and set, or they have to get rid of that iron and use it for something else. Yeah. That's kind of interesting too.
right.
Fair enough.
Did I put everybody asleep?
No, no, no,
No,
no, no. Absolutely
I
not.
just got
This is this is
it occurred it occurred to me just when Rob was talking about dumping the magnesium in, that this is the first time we didn't do a magnesium burn at the close of the coffee grounds for the year.
I know.
I still have a chunk of your magnesium Yamaz for saving it for quad state. So
Right.
there's
John's got a chunk. I've got chunk.
of course I
Man, I
could
got a lot of
grab a
chunk.
whole bunch from work.
Bring a 50-pound sack of magnesium and just dump it in
Oh,
John's porch. Let's hope for the best.
Oh, that would be fun. That would be dangerous, but fun. Like building
Oh,
just
it'd
a
burn his
box of
house.
just build just a box of dirt forge, a J-Bod
what would
forge.
happen with phosphorus?
Huh?
What's that?
What would happen if you mixed it with phosphorus? That's in the bin next to the magnesium.
Well, the temperature at which phosphorus burns is way high. I honestly don't know how you would ignite it, like and they burn.
You're breaking up a little bit there, Sully.
Yeah, I think he was
And then
saying
white
it
phosphorus.
wouldn't light it. Magnesium
Oh, I don't.
wouldn't set it on fire. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't know how phosphorus reacts.
Oh, okay. Well, sounds like something we need to try.
Oh, and
Let's hold my beer things.
speaking of awesome stuff, if you'll notice, I've got a new painting here. And now that I can't see, yes, this I got a Coffee Studios original, and look how cool that is. Yeah. Hand painted art in my place. I love it. But right there next to my other coffee original.
Yeah, I finally got one this year. Finally, after 5 years, I finally got a John Coffee.
Sorry.
super stoked. I did leave it up to my daughter to figure out where to hang it though.
Yep. Sorry, random thought. I was staring at it, admiring it in my monitor, and it's like, oh right, I can talk about this.
I apologize. I did not realize my I'm talking on a pad,
No, it's all right.
and I'm on my juice, so I may end up disappearing here shortly.
You're coming in loud and clear on my end. I mean, if you do drop out, just so you know, I appreciate the heck out of you coming in and talking shop. That you know that would have made great campfire conversation. I mean, it'd be a tough competition with Eduardo's tales from behind the scenes, but I,
I love
oh, Eduardo's
I'm telling
stories are the best.
the best. We were all. Eduardo got there on Friday, and I mean, like, I swear to God, it's like we were all sitting there, and it's like we've been waiting all year for this moment
And
right
so
here.
we all just shut up and let him talk. Fed him some beers and let him talk.
Oh,
And he's a
and
good storyteller too. It's not just the content; it's the way he tells it.
he animates it, and he stands up, and he's reenacting when he was yelling at that person, and he's a great storyteller, and he has got the best. I mean, like, and he doesn't have to tell the same story over again. I mean, like, every year he's got a whole new 6-hour set ready to go.
Right? Oh, I love that. But yeah, we'll try one of these days. We got to get that. Okay, that would have to be. It would have to be there would have to be a disclaimer for that live stream where it is like, warning, there will be foul language, there will be inappropriate topics, and have Eduardo on as a guest.
Fix that. Make it a podcast exclusive episode.
Yeah, maybe if we were to do that, maybe set it as a members only stream, because they can't yell at me for that because it's not public, and have it so that it's recorded, and then we'll put it on the podcast only. That would
Right,
be.
and then
I
edit up a what do you call it? Edit up a edit version for an upload.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. I'll try and get a hold of Eduardo and smack him around a bit to make sure he sets aside some time. You know. Although I think it'd be best if he just plops down on his couch in his living room, and his kids and his wife are talking in the background, and he just goes, "I'm trying to do something here."
I know, right?
Yeah.
Do you mind?
Woman, please. Oh, Eduardo, if you hear this, I love you. That's one where that morning, I wouldn't do it a morning show. I would do it a separate show. It'd have to be, because this is too family friendly, and yeah, I wouldn't do a members only Sunday morning gathering.
Yeah, no, we'd have what, 3 people in there? Come on now.
It would be well, I mean, yeah, at this point, yeah, it'd be like 3 or 4 people, and yeah, but
Be a midweek special edition.
oh, God.
So sorry I had to take off for a little bit before there, guys. I went outside. The dogs were barking. I didn't know if you guys could hear it or not. But turns out there was about a 4-foot snake that was just outside the reach of their where they're being tied up. So it was kind of like they were both trying to get at it fervently. So it was kind of drag them off and let the snake just take off into the bush. It's breeding season at the moment, so I'm glad it wasn't a brown snake or anything like that, because that would have just attacked them. So yeah, sorry about that. Now I'm back, and I know I didn't. I know I missed a lot, but yeah, also gives us a chance to get back into a few comments in the chat if you want to go for that. And Rob, you are an inspiring person with the amount that you're still learning and going through at the moment. I see some of the challenges that you have when you occasionally post them into our group chat.
Yeah. But with that, it is 11 o'clock, and yeah, I guess we can move on to our final thoughts before Rob's battery dies.
Yeah.
Oh no, we can't.
Why not?
Because Tim
Oh,
just
big dog's here.
Uh-oh. No, we can't. I guess
Big
we'll keep going.
dog.
We'll
I
keep going.
should out and give Big Dog the floor.
No, I'm sure
figure out
Big Dog
push
wants to.
off.
I figure Big Dog wants to chat with you about making steel, because Big Dog is a big brain, big wrinkly brain teddy bear with lots of smart stuff in his head, and you were talking a lot of smart stuff. So once Big Dog unmutes himself, I'm sure he'll love to say hi to you.
In the meantime, Yamez, anything notable? I can't see it, so.
And notable in the chat, Stephen Parsons said, "Stranger danger. I need my mommy." And then they're asking about the snake that's tied up. Adam keeps a snake as a pet tied up on a leash in the yard, So that's kind of Australian of him. And somebody said something about throwing bacon in the crucibles. I don't know. Scroll up, as I had a question. All right.
Throw bacon in the what do you call it, in the foundry?
Okay, the job I'm working. Should I be
Can
grabbing
I-
the cutoffs, bringing them home to use in the future? The job I'm working on, they use post-stress cable in concrete. All I can find on it is that it's high carbon steel. Should I be grabbing the cutoffs and bringing home to use in the future? I think any metal you can grab from for free and bring home to work with is, yeah,
provided they allow you to do so.
yes.
Never put your job in jeopardy by assuming you can just take that home.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you now, Tim.
John Burnell, I did message you about the Vice. Go ahead and look at that. But Tim, how you doing? I missed you. I was looking for you at Quad State. Every corner, I peeked into people's tents, wondering if you were hiding from me. I couldn't find you. I got a lot of weird looks.
Yeah. Well, yeah, man, you'll pull some weird looks no matter what. But sorry about that. So anyway, yeah, I was listening in, trying to get this thing to work, and blah blah blah. The whole thing, old guy technology. There's a push to talk, and you have to hold down a button, and I'd forgotten which button I set up for push to talk, so I had to get back into Discord. Blah blah blah. And the world goes round and round, right? Anyway, so, hey, Granddad, good to see you, buddy. How you doing?
Great to see you. Well, hear you.
Yeah, if I could figure out how to turn on a TV set here, I would, but I don't even know if that's even possible for what I'm doing.
Right.
Anyway, so sounds like a cool new job you got going there. And I heard you talking about the pour and the fluid dynamics and your runoff and run in. You've got reservoirs. Those are actually settling for impurities, heavier metals than the iron to drop out. So yeah, believe it or not, you'll get lead and gold and other stuff in there, and it will drop out into those areas in minute amounts. But yeah, it's part of the fluid dynamics. So you need to get a clockwise and a counterclockwise vortex going to make all that cool stuff happen. So yeah, it sounds like you're learning a great new trade. That's awesome.
Very cool. Yeah. Yeah, like we were talking, it's like, aside from being a full-time blacksmith, I mean, the two jobs that are like a dream job for a blacksmith is either at a foundry or at a steel yard. You know, it's like, one, you get to see the process of steel being made, and one, you get to get all the free drops you want or access to drops, you know.
It's pretty freaking cool, especially with the price of steel nowadays, man. That's
Right?
just awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. To
Where'd
work at
Adam go?
Disneyland.
Adam's fading in and out. He's apparently fighting like a 15-foot python or something.
Nice.
John Burnell apparently has the exact same job, and we're not giving him.
What, fighting pythons?
Yeah, fighting pythons.
This time I just had a hair in my eye, and I didn't want to freak out and chat with me, basically going like this and sticking my fingers in my eyes so I don't get the crap out. But no, it was only about like I said, about maybe a 6-foot python.
But what
a
is that in
6-foot
freedom?
snake, and I think it was a python.
Nice, Adam. He's like, who is that guy? Look at this little blighter.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
not
It was only, it's only so look. It's actually the third snake I've seen today because I went round to a friend's place earlier on today to get some fertilizer for my partner's my wife's gardens. We're doing veggie gardens, and they own horses, so went round to get that. And they've actually got 2 pet snakes. One's a black-headed python, and one is an albino carpet python. So the black-headed python's only maybe 3 foot long, and the albino carpet python's about 8 foot long. So they're both gorgeous snakes, but yeah, I couldn't quite see the one that was outside clearly, and up here, if you can't see it clearly to identify it, don't touch it because they most likely will be poisonous or venomous. Sorry, not poisonous, but yes. So it was kind of like I just wanted to keep the dogs away from it, and so they didn't get bitten because that way I don't have to worry about taking them to the vet or not. So I like my dogs.
Not.
Yeah, well, if not, then
Nice.
I've got to do something else with them, and I don't want to do that either. So yeah.
Exactly.
How you doing, Sully? Been a while.
I am doing amazing, Tim. I really am. I had and glad to be back to work. Actually, even though I'm not doing anything, I'm just out here for moral support. So, yeah. That's
Hey,
about it.
getting paid for moral support is always a good thing.
Yeah, getting paid while I'm doing the podcast / live stream, and then when this is over, I imagine I'm gonna be playing Minecraft for the rest of the day. So, yeah. But if they need me,
Nice.
they know where to holler for me. So,
Rob, what are you doing? You're changing. You're skinny now.
Yeah, Rob's playing his phone.
Yeah, my battery's gone. I'm on 2%.
Rob's about to get cut out.
Well, if I don't talk to you for a while, Rob, have a good one. Enjoy a new job. Take care of yourself. If your battery dies, sorry.
I'll see ya. It's great hearing you.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
But yeah.
And I just want to say something to Steve Parsons. The line isn't that's not a knife. This is a knife. The line is that's not a knife. That's a knife.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to rewatch the Crocodile Dundee movie. I like the scene where they're running across people's heads on the subway. But yeah. So Tim, how the heck have you been doing?
I have actually been trying to keep up with the YouTube videos a little bit, but I'm falling a little short. Recent change in life. You guys know that I merged 2 companies. Took me away for quite some time. Very little activity, social media. It was quite a merger to get these 2 companies to mesh together. Got that to happen, and then they put me into their R&D department. So I'm developing shipping possibilities for things that have never been shipped before worldwide. And in the middle of that, I got a phone call about a week ago from the owner of a much larger company offering me a job that would more than double my salary, full medical, full retirement,
Nice.
and basically I get to teach people. So I said yes to that, and I'm currently transitioning from one job to another after 28 years with a company. So this will be the sixth job I've had in my entire life. So a little nerve
Wow.
wracking, but it's okay. Yeah, I don't move around a lot. I tend to stick with those. The two big jobs I had was as an Army Ranger and then again as a locksmith. And locks are getting a lot smarter than people nowadays. So little computers in them, blah blah blah. So yeah, I got this job opportunity, took it, and so that's been. I've been meaning to get another video out. I did a little Damascus thing. It turned out horribly wrong. Forged it too cold. It was a canister, and it started splitting. I was able to save some of the material, but yeah, that was my big. Okay, I'm going to do a forging video, and all this stuff happened, and I got distracted, and it went bad, and I'm like, bah, screw it. I'm just going to do something else.
Now, are you still going to put the video up, or did you can the video just because it's like, that didn't?
No, I'll actually put the video out. I just need some time to kind of sort it out. I want people to see the mistakes. Don't do what I did, kind of thing, right? And if they can learn anything from something I've done wrong, then it's a good thing.
Yeah, historically I used to, whenever I'd be filming and I would totally screw it up. I'd be like, well, done with that. Turn the can, and then I'd just file 13 the footage and be like, yeah, that just didn't work out the way I wanted. And it wasn't until about a year ago I decided, all right, you know what, I'm gonna keep those and then just let it roll anyways, because it's at the end of the day, everything I'm doing is what if? What if you do it like this? What if
Right.
you do it like that? And it's even interesting. Sometimes I think it's more interesting when it doesn't work.
Yeah, years and years ago, I did a video. It was called "Never Stop Learning," and it's basically jump into what you do know and do what you can do that you know what you know, and it comes out good, and it makes you feel good as a blacksmith. Okay, now jump into something that you absolutely don't know. Forge ahead,
Right.
using a term, but make the mistakes. That's how you learn. Watch other people's mistakes. That's how you learn. And once you've got past those mistakes, hey, you've learned a new skill. You've learned something new. So, yeah, and if honestly, if I could share any of that with anybody, I don't care how dumb the mistake is. I mean, literally, I was making a knife here about a month ago for a guy at work, a friend of mine. Forged out a little bit of cable Damascus, and in the middle of the whole darn thing, I'm like, this is way too hot to hold on to here because I had a little short pair of pliers at the time. I dunked it in water. Just brain dead. Dunked it in water, not
Oof.
thinking. Cracked it in half. I mean, it was only cable, and it might have taken it, but no, it was pretty cold water and a pretty hot blade. It just
Yeah.
went ting, ting, ting. And I went, oh, God, no, really? And I've been doing this for, God, it's been over 45 years now. And
Yeah.
just stupid mistakes. And unfortunately, I wasn't filming that. It was a quick 3-4 hour thing and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, yeah, put them out there. Put the mistakes out there for others to learn. And I don't, you know what? I've been a someone to laugh at all my life.
Me
And
too.
whether
Me
you're
too.
laughing, I know, right? Whether you're laughing with me or at me, you're still laughing. That's my, whole thing.
You know, that's kind of like when when something unexpected happens. You know, when you're just caught off guard. Like what Monday before last, when we did the surprise live stream at Yanez's. I made I'm going to make a journeyman spike. We need a punch. We need a nail header. Well,
That was
I forced a nail header out of a rail spike, and then it broke while I was forming the head. I'm like, what the actual? How did? What's going on here? And then after the fact, I grabbed a file, and that rail spike would stay to file. All right, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. If you guys haven't checked it out, I recommend. We went for about 2 hours. I recommend checking out that surprise live stream from last Monday, or not the Monday before last. It was a fun live stream. I haven't had
broke
that much fun. I haven't had that much fun in a forge in a long time. You know, like not including over at at the coffee grounds, because that's always a good time. But
Yeah, well, and I agree. Like I show my when you guys have watched my videos, I try and show my mistakes because, hey, just not just like Tim, where people can learn from what not to do, but also I find no one's perfect, and watching someone do perfect work all the time is unrealistic. So I try and at least be imperfect because that's what we do, and also I find it interesting when people mess up to see how they get around it. Like what do they do? Do they just scrap the whole project, or do they do rapid redesigns? Do they start over again? It's
you know,
interesting to see how a person's mind works to get around challenges.
and that's one reason why I primarily do live stream shows now for my forging. I don't do a ton of edited videos, if any. I do have plans for some, but uh, it's just fighting the algorithm and setting it all up is a pain sometimes. And I have more fun doing my live streams than I do editing videos. Uh, Plus, my office time is sucked up with other activities, so it's like something's got to give. But you'll see, if you've watched a lot of my live streams, you'll notice it's like you'll see the frustration when I'm having a tough time, and you'll see me come across an issue and either overcome it, change, or scrap the project and start over. You know, uh, heck, I was having a brain fart one time where it took me 4 separate tries to get a bottle opener that I liked. I was struggling with a bottle opener. It's like, you know, and during that stream, I think I tried the same bottle opener like 4 times. It was like, nope, 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 it isn't working. But yeah, uh, so
It got really quiet all of a sudden.
yeah, it did. I think everybody thought that I was going to keep talking because I usually do.
So
Well,
I was talking, and then I realized I was on mute. Now, so before we go, I actually wanted to have a quick book review on a book that I purchased not long ago, and I'm just trying to find it because I was highly, highly disappointed with this book.
how can you not find your own book?
That's not my. I was going to make a gesture then, but I realized that we're on YouTube and I don't want to get it banned. This book is called. I think it's about hooks. It was released by another blacksmith that's not part of our direct community, but he is a blacksmith in the US. And I can't find it. I got that annoyed with the book. I think I might have turfed it somewhere. But it's something like, just a second, I might be able to find it in my recent purchases on Amazon. And basically it's 101 make 101 blacksmithing books or something like that. But yeah, I was massively disappointed with it because it's like 30 pages long, right? And it has nothing on actually blacksmithing hooks, which I thought, well, why would you sell a book
On how to make something and not show how to
on
make
how to make
something.
exactly? And I thought I wanted to just let people know about it so that you don't get caught in the same thing as me. Just a second. I'm just trying to find the name of the book. Now, I'm not dissing the Smith.
Just
and
the
Smith has
author.
written the author, yeah, which is also is apparently a Smith. But I am
Dissing that specific
going to
title.
So it's called Hooks 101: How to Make $99 an Hour. Okay, and like I said, it's about 25 to 30 pages long. It's a very, very, very little actual content in the book. It was I bought the hard copy because I like buying hard copy books. It cost me like $8 Australian. So it wasn't much of an outlay, but it wasn't good value for money. Now,
was it
sorry?
basically just a picture book?
No, it wasn't basically a picture book. It was written. It was an authored book, but it was more on your marketing and etc. To get your work out there. And I was again. I'm not going to mention the name of the Smith, but I'm not knocking the idea of it. And but I was personally expecting, because I thought awesome, I read Hooks 101, and I kind of maybe it's because of the quality of content from creators that I personally have interacted with or know, such as John Switzer and stuff like that. Whereas if I saw a book on hooks from John Switzer, I would think his hook of the week, and he has outlines of all the hooks that he's made and how to do that, and that's kind of what I was expecting, so that's on me, in the sense of my expectations were above what I thought. And I didn't know it was only 25 pages long when I purchased the book. I thought, awesome, this is great value for money, $8, and it's going to have all these things on how to make books, how to make hooks, not books. But yeah, so so just to let you, I guess it's a lesson in tempering my own expectations of what I'm receiving, particularly when I'm ordering stuff online. So
Yeah.
But I did want to share that, just so that it doesn't get out there in the
It just
in the
falls under
community.
the do your own research.
Yeah.
Or you
Due
realize
diligence.
don't buy your blacksmithing books from wish.com, right?
I bought it from a reputable seller. I bought it from the mold that sells my book. So yeah, I guess I should do my research.
Speaking of books, before we go, you need to send me your address or your shipping address, Adam. I need to get this in the mail. And luckily, one of the job sites that I can force myself to take a lunch and across the street to the post office. The post office by me no longer does international shipping, so I have to travel for it. Yeah.
Speaking of books, Adam, how is your endeavor coming along with that? Where are you at currently in your process?
Okay, so I can officially now announce that Book 3, Volume 3 of Practical Blacksmithing Annotated is now live on Amazon. I'm currently working on book. Sorry?
I was going to say it's called The Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, that's it. So books 1 and 2 are available as well. So volumes 1 and 2. Volume 3 is now available on Amazon. Or in your country, wherever you are in the world. I am currently working on book 4, as well as the full annotated 1 volume. Difference, I'm having to work those 2 at the same time. Reason being is because I have to, whilst I'm doing book 4, I'm also having to completely, unlike most people have a copy of this one,
or something like it, which is literally, and if anyone who has this knows, it's just literally the 4 volumes bound in one book. That's it. What I'm doing that's different is I'm actually rehashing and re-editing the whole book for the full compendium, so that everything's together. So you're not no longer reading volumes 1 to 4 in just one book. You're reading a chapter on hammers, a chapter on tongs, a chapter on forge building. It's all going to be re-edited and remastered that way. So with doing volume 4, I'm having to take the sections out of that whilst I'm doing it and transferring it over to the full volume. So it's taking me a little bit longer for volume 4. Not to mention that the copy that I've got that I'm remastering for volume 4 is a dog's breakfast. It is absolutely horrible when it's coming to editing, so it's taking me a little bit longer. However, in extension to that, I will be, and this is a little bit of a sneak peek, and it's going to be a couple of months in the work, so please don't hold your breath too much, but I will be making Practical Blacksmithing Volume 5. Now, the reason why I say it's Volume 5 is because it will be all new material that has never been before been included in Practical Blacksmithing. It comes from the same sources that the original Practical Blacksmithing came from, but this will be wholly new compiled articles and stuff like that in the same format of the original, but wholly new compiled articles and stuff like that from blacksmiths that were of the time, that will be included in volume 5. So I've already started working on that as well. And I'm kind of juggling a few things at the moment. I've also started on a book called The Apprentice Blacksmith. So the reason why I've started on the Apprentice Blacksmith, and takes me back to that book, Hooks 101, is we've all read stuff like the Blacksmith Craft and the Home Blacksmith and Practical Blacksmithing and stuff like that, and we've all had the conversations of, if we could go back in time, what skills and knowledge would you need to have in order to be considered have completed your apprenticeship or whatnot. So what I'm doing is I'm putting together from the information through all the research I've been researching for the last 6 odd months, doing these books and stuff like that, and I've got files upon files upon files of information of where people were at with their certain with the blacksmithing, and it's a very, depending on the time period and depending on what you were doing. So industrial blacksmithing is different to your local blacksmithing, and that was different at the end of the 1800s to what it was in the end of the middle of the 1600s. So what I'm trying to do is put together a broad spectrum information on, if you were to start from scratch right now, what skills would you need to learn, and projects could you do over the course of a couple of years. And it's not a book that we could just read it from start to finish, do all the projects, and that's it, you're done. You're now at finishing your apprenticeship level. It would be something that you can. I'm going to include a couple hundred different projects that I have. I'm in discussions with a photographer to come out and actually take photos and stuff like that whilst I do these projects myself, in order to give instructions and stuff like that on how to do these. But these aren't just instructions that I'll be doing. I'm through my research, I've come across all these projects and they've already got the instructions, so I'll be doing them in order to complete them, but also provide photographs of them being completed. So I've got a lot of work to do, and it's kind of already started with some of the things I've already done in the past. But yeah, so it's so I'm juggling a lot of balls in order to get things done, and this is all while I'm trying to get my workshop completed and stuff like that. So Volume 3, Practical Blacksmithing, is out. Volume 4 is on its way. The complete annotated works is also in the process of being done. I've already started a new volume, Volume 5, and I'm also writing a separate book. So busy is an understatement.
Right.
Oh, have I?
No, you're
Okay,
fine.
I thought I might have lost everyone.
I was just answering a question in Facebook. Somebody was going on a tangent about how Fisher anvils are cast iron, not wrought iron, and how the guy asking the question about it was like, I thought cast iron anvils weren't good, and the guy goes, well, some cast iron anvils are good. It's like, no, 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 no. Fishers are cast iron with a steel face. Big difference than being a pure cast iron anvil. Anyway, neither here nor there. With that, all right, we are at an hour and a half. Sully, you're cutting in and out. I keep seeing you freezing. So I think we will go ahead and move on to our final thoughts, if that's okay with the crowd.
It's all right by me.
Yeah.
So I'll get this out of the way first. So thanks for joining us, everyone. So you can find Yamas on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can find Alex at Transcendental Artist Studios on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can find me, Adam, at Speargrass Forge on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook, and also those books that I was talking about just before on Amazon in your country. So it's Amazon.com, Amazon.com.au, Amazon.com.au. UK, etc., etc., etc. Don't forget that if you have any suggestions for Tool of the Week, Metal of the Week, or any other topic, you can leave it under the hashtag Metal of the Week in the YouTube community chat in our Discord, or you can email us at islandmetalforge@gmail.com. If you found us on Anchor, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Google Podcasts, we upload every Wednesday. Just about. We're a couple of days behind because of our time off due to Quad State. However, we'll be uploading as soon as we're able to get round to it. Please be patient. We're catching up. Or you can join us live every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that is currently 11:30 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time. But check that against your local time to be more accurate. And that's at the Island Metal Forge YouTube channel. Finally, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're listening on the podcast provider, don't forget to give us a rating. We appreciate your support, and it helps us bump up in the rating so other people can find us and we can encourage them out there and get them suck it into blacksmithing just like we all are. But at that, guys, there's always, if you've ever seen that video about with the glass jar filling up with golf balls and filling up with pebbles and filling up the sands, and he pours the beer in, don't forget, there's always time to stop and have a beer with friends. So take your time, get out there, get what you want done, but don't forget to stop and have a beer with a friend occasionally.
Yeah. I don't know if we fully lost Alex or not.
No, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Okay.
Yeah, I cut my video off to save bandwidth because I'm like in and out of like 1 to 4 bars.
There you go.
So I'll go a little bit different this week from my normal routine and just say appreciate your friends and family and realize that if you give people a chance, sometimes they might just surprise you. I'm blessed with having some of the greatest friends on earth, and I could never hope to have met so many amazing people. So don't take that for granted, and remember, sometimes you can be that great friend too. So y'all have a great week. Get out there and build something, and have fun with a friend while you're doing it.
Yeah, man. And on me, my final thoughts are don't let catastrophe get you down. I know, that wasn't really the topic, but you fall down and get back up. You lose everything, rebuild. And for those of you who are dealing with catastrophes and like for example Ian, the hurricane and everything, life does get better. You just have to keep plugging along. Uh, Never let the weight of it push you down to where you think you can't get up, because you can always get back up. It just takes gumption and intestinal fortitude. which I believe everybody inherently has. So I wish everybody the best, and find that light that lifts you up, whatever it may be. I'd like to thank wholeheartedly my co-hosts, Sully and Adam, and I would love to thank my guests, Big Dog Forge and Granddad's Forge. Thank you for showing up. You guys really made the show wonderful. And I'd like to, big thanks and a big shout out to all of my channel members, Steve Parsons, Robert Williams, Wayne Heights, Roy, which never showed up today, and Alex from Transcendent Artist Studios. I believe I have one more, but I can't remember. And a big thank you to everybody in the chat who asked some amazing questions, and I hope you guys all had a blast today. See me later tonight. I will be playing either one of two projects tonight for my Sunday evening forging stream. It will either be playing with wrought iron that I got from Quad State, or making some stainless steel chopsticks. I don't know yet.
You know why Roy wasn't here this week, hey?
No, I don't.
Nobody said flux.
Nobody
Well,
said flux.
no. Hey! If you saw Instagram, he was speaking to a certain Tasmanian Smith through that old peak hole, and he they had him up all night on their
Oh, right, that's right. So look forward to
yeah.
a Forgecast episode with Roy.
Yeah, I think we're live on Friday, so yeah.
Yeah. All right. Wonderful, wonderful,
He was too
wonderful.
tired to speak to us today.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think I will do the wrought iron, Paul, because I want to look into some other things for the stainless steel chopsticks. But with that, you guys have fun, be safe, and I will see you later tonight. And if you don't watch those, I will see you. We will see you next Sunday. And don't forget, spread the word about the podcast, download and upload, all that fun stuff. Share it, like it, force your friends to listen to it, even if you got to duct tape them to a dinner chair. And yeah. All right. Love you guys, and I will talk to you later.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe. Bye.